I always try to make everything I do real. The way I touch a woman, the way I touch myself, I want everyone to see, this is the human body. Enjoy it if you like it. I can get paid from it, so I'm not going to complain about that.
If you're here because you know your sex life could be more than it is right now, you crave more, you want more, you just haven't figured out how to get there yet, stay with me. I'll come back to that later on in the episode. What if the conversations we've been taught to avoid about sex, desire, and our bodies are actually the ones that set us free? Welcome to Sex Ritual Radio. I'm your host, Rose Heartsong. This is the show where sexuality, spirituality, and vital health meet, and where we explore the conversations most people consider oh so taboo. Each week, I sit down with fascinating voices exploring intimacy, relationships, healing, and human potential. Let's dive in. We talk about sexuality, spirituality, holistic vitality, and health. And I like to challenge the status quo when it comes to certain topics and also reveal behind the scenes of topics that you might think are edgy or you don't even think about going behind the scenes with. And so that's what we have conversations here on the show. And we're about to dive into a really juicy topic tonight. I'm really excited about the topic. I know I've shared with you guys that I recently went to AVN, which is the Adult Video News Awards in Las Vegas, and I met the guest that we have on the show today. We connected and had a deep conversation. I'll admit, like a lot of the people at AVN, I was kind of petrified of, but obviously the guest I have on right now, I was not petrified on, or else I wouldn't have you as a guest. So I have Anthony Blackheart here. He is a sex worker, a male sex worker, and also a professional dom. And he's getting back into, after taking some time off, getting back into the industry. One of the things I learned at AVN was I got to get into the psychology and have conversations with sex workers or porn stars and so forth. And I'm really excited to dive in. So thank you so much for being here, for trusting me to have this conversation. And it would be amazing if you can introduce yourself.
Thank you, Rose. I appreciate that. My name's Anthony Blackheart. I have been in and out of the adult industry for the last, we'll say, 12, 13 years. Came in when I was freshly 21. I am now 33. Yeah, it's been a while on and off, but I've always had a love for intimacy, bondage, BDSM, doming, female body more than anything. So
for those who are listening, obviously the term sex worker is a very broad term. So specifically, what type of sex worker are you?
Content creation more than anything, and adult camming. Mm-hmm. So those are the two things I've touched on more than anything. I did dabble into domination, BDSM on an individual level at a point. Nothing crazy, but I did have clients that I would dominate and teach BDSM ethics for them and their partners at the time.
Okay. And so you're doing, when you say content creation, basically porn stars.
I always say amateur star.
Okay.
Because by no means will I ever get that porn star title unless I was in a mainstream thing. But that's just me and how I put it.
I guess if you think it's like a star.
Yeah.
And at AVN, there were some pretty big stars there.
Yes. And a few of them I have met, great people. And then I know it's definitely one of those things that the industry is a lot more taboo because everyone perceives it as fake. I am more on the amateur side where it's just more intimate and real, and we just film it. I always try to make everything I do real. The way I touch a woman, the way I touch myself, I want everyone to see, this is the human body. Enjoy it if you like it. I can get paid from it, so I'm not going to complain about that.
I mean, I talk a lot about on this show that porn is our primary resource for education and when it comes to sex in the world today. And we, everybody has access to their phones and they have porn in their pockets and they can access it anywhere. And people are learning, younger and younger and younger, like 8, 9, 10, 12 years old are watching porn and learning about that way. And one of the things I like about you and I in our conversation is that you distinguish the differences between, really, I'm going to use the word toxic porn.
Yes.
That's not healthy for an individual to consume, which causes injuries, I would say mental injuries when it comes to connection and intimacy. And then there's other types of porn that could potentially be educational and actually help bring value to people in that way. Mm-hmm. You distinguished the difference, and I really found value in that. And I think that's one of the reasons I wanted you on here today.
Yeah. Now, I like mainstream porn is oversaturated. We all know that stuff is cranked out multiple times a week. And I'll even say by one, particularly, I have met people that have shot 7 scenes in a week. And a scene can go anywhere from like 3 hours to 12 to 13 hours in a day. So knowing that people do that 7 times a week, I think is bananas. I will not ever want to do anything like that. That's crazy. But the amount of content that's created these days, it has oversaturated everyone's phones. Mm-hmm. Sex does sell. I will not deny that. But what I try to do is create intimacy and show stuff that I genuinely value and I would want to see from others.
Like, explain to the audience, or like specifically when you say intimacy, what does that mean? So
intimacy to me is, yes, because I am selling a thing, I do have to make a visually appealing thing, and camera angles mess everything up too. I will say that. While I would love to just show raw sexual content, mm-hmm. Like, have you ever seen the movie Zack and Mary Make a Porno?
I think so.
At the very end, they show the scene of them actually being intimate, and mm-hmm. It was just like 2 people squished together.
Oh, yeah.
And it was like, this isn't good.
I mean, so basically it's performance on one level or another. You have to perform to look good. And like, the thing is, you said like the average person would want to see, nobody's going to want to see that because yes. We're so programmed by our society on how porn's supposed to look.
Yes. But what I try to do when I do something is make it look good, but also be intimate with my partner. Mm. Like, just take them out of the spot that the camera's on. I'm there. Kind of moving the body so it does look visually appealing from the outside, because everyone does want to see attractive people going at it because it is pleasurable. Mm-hmm. But always kind of bringing my partner back into, hey, I'm here, you're mine, I'm yours, let's do this, let's have fun. Mm-hmm. The fun part is the big thing for me, because I always say, if you're not having fun making something, it's gonna get trashed. The stuff I produce will only be used if we are actually having fun. Mm-hmm. I have been with girls that just, do me this way for the camera, and because it is a contractual agreement for them to make content too. Mm-hmm. What I produce, I want it to be more raw. I've scrapped so much stuff because it just seemed fake. Mm-hmm. Or performative, and I don't like that. Mm-hmm. But
so what percentage of porn do you think is performative?
I'll probably say about 60.
That low?
60%?
I would think it would be like 80 or 90%.
No, because what I'm seeing more is people are getting it, like, nowadays, people have conflated like easy money. Like it's so hard to do. Mm-hmm. You actually have to be a bit of a nympho.
Oh, interesting.
So I'm learning that the more sexually awakened people, or the people that want to perform or want to be seen, they stay in it, and then it's not performative. But I always say this, 50% of the industry is like really high sexual like beings. The other 50 are just financial, do whatever I have to do for money.
There was like one, I forgot her name, you probably remember it. There's like one girl that won all of the most popular award from the like consumers. She won the consumer award for like best porn star, best porn videos, everything. And so I went and watched some of her content, and I was like, okay, like, let me see what this girl's about. And in all honesty, I thought she was performing so much, and I could see that I didn't even see any pleasure in her experience. Like it looked like I was uncomfortable watching her because I could see lack of actual pleasure in her body. So I'm curious, like how do we even clarify that?
I can't speak for her. I don't want to.
She has like 1 million followers.
Well, 1 million followers is a lot of people now.
Yeah.
If you really do deep dive on industry people, they're who celebrities follow.
Yeah.
Like it's wild because I think porn is the one thing everyone watches. Mm-hmm. Not everyone watches anime.
Well, I just looked it up. It says that the global pornography industry generates this is globally, $97 billion per year.
Yep.
And that the United States porn industry generates 10 to 15 billion per year. And that online porn accounts for 70% of the industry's revenue.
Toys, DVDs. DVD sales is still a thing from what I know. Yeah, because I think the term is... It might be collection. I don't know. Like I said, I'm not in the mainstream.
So porn is one of the largest entertainment industries in the world, generating more money than many major sports leagues combined.
Yep.
So it's bigger than sports.
Yeah.
It's
Everyone
huge.
watches it.
Yeah.
And people can say, "Oh, I don't watch porn." You probably do. But it's not a bad thing.
Oh my gosh. 30% of global internet traffic is related to pornography.
Yes. It is the
Wow.
largest viewed thing on the internet.
30% of all the internet traffic in the world is porn.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Really didn't know that.
I didn't know that.
I love that. No, I will say,
How did I not know that?
my joke is 1 in every 4 people is probably just recently watched something pornographic on their phone or adult related.
So a major porn site can receive 130 million visitors per day.
Yes.
And their one platform alone recorded over 42 billion visits in a single year. It's a dominant force of the internet.
It is the largest force on the internet.
Oh my gosh.
Well, you got to remember, sexuality is one of the big things for anything.
That's crazy.
Why do guys work out? Why do guys make the money? It's so that they can attract women.
Well, I mean, let's go to the root of it, right? The root is reproduction.
Yes.
It's a primal animalistic desire that humans are programmed to do to reproduce, to keep the species alive.
Yes.
Right? So it is a very innate human need. We need to eat, we need to sleep, we need to drink water, and we need to have sex.
Yes.
And unfortunately, I don't know because I'm not another species, so I don't really know what it's like to be an animal, but like a different animal, but we shame our human desire. Like, what if I was walking around shaming you for drinking water? I can't believe you're drinking water.
It's because rules get in the way of that. Because if we let our animal instincts come into being, everyone would be having sex on the street. We go to wars for women, or men do. We go to wars for women. We fight, like Helen of Troy, prime example. There was a big fight with the Spartans and the Trojans over a woman. People will kill others to protect their family, to protect that primal need to keep that thing that they covet so much safe. And I'm not saying they fight because of sex, but it's that protectiveness over the thing that is valued, which is their partner. Mm-hmm. And whether it be gay, straight, any which way on the spectrum, we want to keep the people we have cultivated in our lives safe, and we will fight for it. It is that primal nature.
A lot of people do have sex. We have the swiping culture with Tinder and online dating, and even like if you're going to go down the fetish world with FetLife and so forth, which can get pretty extreme. And also, a lot of people I know who are having sex regularly, even in a marriage, aren't fulfilled with their sex life. Nope. They're yearning for this thing that's outside of them that they're not fully getting met. And there's like this emptiness almost. It's kind of sad. And I think there's a big fracture in our society when it comes to sexuality. You already know why you are here. You're craving more. Maybe the sex you're having just is not nourishing you. Maybe you're bored or uninspired or just going through the motions of the routine. Maybe you want to explore Tantra. Maybe you want to try kink or BDSM or just something you haven't even got the name for yet. You just are craving it and you feel it in your bones. Maybe you are having sex and still feeling empty afterwards, or just not enough sex and you're carrying this deep resentment. Whatever it looks like,
you're just not fulfilled and you're done waiting for that to change. That's where I come in. I work with a small number of private clients and we deepen and develop erotic intelligence and erotic communication. And I help people stop settling and start having the most expansive, pleasurable sex of their lives. This work is intimate, it's deep, and I don't take it lightly. So if you're ready, there's a link in the show notes to apply. I don't take everyone. We got to do a consultation just to see if we resonate and work well together, to see if I can help you work well with me, and we'll start there. And I really look forward to connecting with you and having that conversation. Let's talk soon. Let's get back to that show now.
I think a part of it is porn. That's part of the fracture. But I think the other part of it is religion and a religious dogma. And they're like fighting each other in our psyche.
Yeah, it's systemic put down of sexual nature because I think we're pulling away from that more. Like we're allowing people to be more themselves and be sexually more liberated and have more freedoms. I think that's finally happening probably within the last 5 years. I'd like to believe, but oh my God, my brain just turned off.
It's an interesting thing, right? Because like, if I'm going to be honest, which I am always honest on this show, is I learned how to masturbate from watching girls online. So it was an education for me. The first time I masturbated, I actually was living in Jerusalem of all places. And my girlfriend and I had been talking to one of our girlfriends. We were 18 years old. And she had said she had never had an orgasm. So we decided we're going to go to find a sex toy store in Jerusalem, of all places in the world, and that we were going to get her a vibrator. And so then we got to the vibrator. I went to go buy the vibrator, and then I brought one. I learned how to self-pleasure, and I didn't masturbate until I was 18. Yeah. And then the interesting thing is that I didn't know how to do it without a vibrator.
Hey.
So I had to learn how to, and I watched porn. So porn is education. Like every single person you talk to, they go to that first, which is not necessarily healthy.
I genuinely think porn or content is great in small doses. Small doses. Overconsumption turns into an unhealthy thing. I have definitely been an addict at a point, watching, like when I was younger and I had nothing to do. Usually it's lack of anything to do. I was in the military. I was waiting to go do another field op, and I was just sitting in my room, have my phone.
You can do it anywhere.
I think that's the biggest problem now that the internet has turned into what it is. It's the free access. Like I remember when I was younger getting my first Playboy and then having just watched American Pie. So I now kind of learned what masturbation was. Like my first time masturbation story was my dad got me a Playboy. Said
Your
here.
dad?
Yeah, my dad. Because I told him like, hey dad, my body's changing. I had a very good conversation with my dad about puberty and me being into chicks.
Oh,
and he's like, okay.
That's good.
He's like, you're going to see this regardless. I had already seen in real life my first pair of boobs. And then a couple months later, I told my dad. And he's like, okay, look at this. If you're looking at boobs in real life, that's fine. Just don't tell me about it because I don't want to think about that. But here's this. And then I took it into my room and I did I masturbated first time. I was like, oh my God, this is the greatest thing ever. And then I always had stuff to do as a kid, so I didn't masturbate very often. But then I became an adult. And then
you went to the military.
Went to the military, and when there's downtime, there's downtime. And like I didn't have a video game to play because I was stuck in a barracks, or I was out in a field op. Like all we had was our phone. I could either brain rot on YouTube or Netflix at the time, and that was boring.
Rot.
Yeah, but then I turned into porn rot, where it was like, oh, but then I can get a sensation out of this, an actual chemical sensation in my brain of, oh, I felt good. But then I also turn into post-nut clarity, where I'm like, I'm dumb. But then again, come back sometimes an hour later and be like, I could do it again.
It's an addiction.
Yes.
I was just going back to the statistics, and it was showing, it's interesting that you said you were 13, because it says the average age of first exposure is 14.7 for boys and 16.42 for girls.
Yeah.
65% of high school boys have searched for porn daily.
Yeah. Sounds
and
about right.
79% of Gen Z adults report lifetime exposure to pornography.
It will never go away.
No. It's causing challenges with actual real intimacy with another human being.
Yes.
And that's when I work with my clients. It's causing erectile dysfunction and it's causing premature ejaculation issues in a big way for boys. And then for women, it's causing inability to have an orgasm.
The men I work with to this day as like friends that come in to me as someone that's very sexually experienced, they ask me, what can I do for, usually it's erectile dysfunction. I don't deal with pre-ejaculations too much anymore, but they just have trouble getting it up. And I have to say there's two reasons. It's one, you're probably doing your thing too much. Slow down, stop, clear your head, touch some grass, like just the nuts and bolts of it. But I say the other thing too is you're probably in your head with the girl, because if you have an intimate relationship with this girl, you're now going to care about how she looks at you, how she touches you, how she feels with you with her, all of that. And that's immediately going to, am I not being this big porn star and making her come every time? And I hate that for them because I'm like, well, I always say there's 3 types of sex. There's straight up hard, rough aggressiveness. There's more casual, like simple stuff. And then there's the most passionate stuff you've ever had in your life. I kind of put that into 3 ways. Most people in general do the middle one, the casual sex. That's what most people deal with. I, on the other hand, have experienced a lot of the hard stuff. I've done BDSM, bondage, domination. I forget how to say the S in it. Sadomasochist.
Or submissive.
Sadomasochism, yeah.
And then masochism.
Yeah. I have dealt with that. I've been dommed by women. I have.
So I really like that you brought that up because you're talking about like the more hardcore thing. And then you and I have talked about being a dom and what that takes and the energy behind it.
Yes.
If I'm being a dominatrix energetically, like if I'm bringing that forward, it's more the soft dom. And so I want to talk about this with you is like, how do we shift the energy of like domination doesn't have to be extreme.
It doesn't. And I'll correct myself on that. I just use that as an example for a generic. I've done more taboo related things.
Let's use the word taboo.
Taboo, yeah.
I like the word taboo because kink is taboo, but it doesn't have to be extreme.
It does not.
It can be psychological kink. It can be like soft sensation kink and so forth. And so I know you and I wanted to talk about that tonight. So I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah. So I always say, and let's put this out there, I view dominating in 2 very different things. There's dominate for the dom, which I do not agree with. That is usually someone who's hyper aggressive, does it for themselves, kind of will overstep a line for their own pleasure. And then a dom, what I am and what we have talked about you are more, is a dominant for the person they're with, to take care of them. It's the protector, showing them intimacy, but maybe cranking it up to 10, giving them that hyper sensations of it, if I'm not mistaken.
I think you and I do things very differently, but I like that you do that from that perspective. I go in totally different levels.
Okay.
And when you do existential kink, redo that book.
Just remember us having that conversation like, yeah, I agree with how I view mine. Yeah.
So my intention is healing.
Yes.
So I find whatever that wound is from a psychological perspective, right? We all, from like basic psychology, we all are developed from 0 to 8. And in that time, we had a moment in our lives in which there was something that really happened that impacted us. It can be as simple as being dropped off at elementary school and going to kindergarten and feeling abandoned by your parents. It doesn't have to be a big trauma. Trauma exists in our world, and a lot of times, unfortunately, it's some sort of molestation trauma, which I deal with a lot with my clients. But there's some sort of trauma that makes us feel like 3 core things. One of them may be way more magnified, but this is basic psychology, is I'm not enough, I'm not worthy, I'm not lovable.
Hey, that's me on a daily.
Yeah, so that's from trauma. We have trauma as adults too, obviously, like life is hard and messes us up a lot, and there's big things that happen. But the trauma that impacts us the most is in that 0 to 8 category. And so what I do with my kink and my domination is I go to find that trigger.
Yeah.
So that means I have to work with them for a little while.
Yeah.
I go to that wound and then I pull that wound forward and I have them work with that wound in a kink related way.
Yeah. I try to allow them to have their taboo or their kink. I try to allow them a safe place to enjoy it.
Yeah.
Up to, like, I have my absolute nose, of course, but I don't want people to be put down by them having some type of kink. And as long as it's not hurting anyone or hurting themselves, and we had a little conversation on that, but like, as long as you're not hurting yourself or hurting anyone, I think most kinks are fine.
Okay, so let's pause on the hurting. I think we should reframe that as causing trauma.
Yes.
Because kink does involve pain, because a masochist is somebody who enjoys pain.
Yeah.
So I think hurting, as long as it's a consensual and agreed upon experience and it's not causing trauma.
I want people to experience their kinks in a safe environment. That's my whole thing. I always want to tell people it's okay.
So how do you create safety?
I create safety with conversation. I need to hear everything. We need safe words. It's tell me what you want. Okay. I'm going to go to this level. I will never go past this level. It's like explaining it in more of a broad statement. Like if someone says they have a foot kink, I'm just one to put it out there. I'm like, okay, do you want me to tickle your feet? Do you want to do something sexual with your feet? Let's put it to that level, and then we'll play it more and more and more and more and keep on sticking to their topic. If they want more broad, just me being hyper dominant with them because they need someone hyper masculine and hyper dominant to them, there is a point where I will stop, because it gets into the Brat taming thing. When someone really likes the dominant nature and they keep pushing that dominant nature, like, okay, I don't know where you're going to stop. We need to slow down, because I have learned that people only give you so much in the beginning, and the second you start cracking that nut, it's layer upon layer upon layer, and it goes deeper and deeper and deeper, and then I need to stop because I don't know when you're going to stop.
Well, then, I mean, that's kind of like the job as the dom, is to hold that energetic space and to know where to push and when to pull back, and how to, like, it's an orchestration of sexual energy.
I've had people try to get me to not stop, and then they started becoming dominant, and I'm like, no, now we're going to completely stop because you're trying to roles reverse.
And you're like,
No, we're not doing this.
Yeah.
I want them to have the control to say no or say yes, whatever. Because I think domination, submission is consent. It's always consent. You have to consent to give someone the power over you in domination, and the dominant one has to be given consent to allow to take the other person in. But if one little wire gets misflipped, it throws the whole thing off.
Yeah, it definitely does, and can shift the energy. Like last weekend, I was at this somatic kink event that I was doing, and I was working with like mini sessions, and I worked with a couple, and it was only 30 minutes, which was really edgy for me. I've never done a session in 30 minutes.
That sounds really hard.
It was really scary. Anyways, I had this couple, and they have a ton of experience in the play party scene and swinging, and the woman actually worked for somebody that I look up to a lot. Her name's Alison Armstrong. She wrote this book called The Queen's Code. It's all about how to communicate with men. So she's like an expert in her study of how to communicate with men. And they're like, we need to figure out our power dynamics. Help us. And so like they literally got into the room, and I like started getting in. I just went in and straight, and I was like, you were a boss, babe. And it was so interesting. I literally just guided him. I was like, put your feet on the ground. This is the one that I'm always like, relax your butthole. We got to do that. We got to relax our buttholes. We got to relax our jaws and the muscles around our genitals, and breathe into our bellies. And I was just like, just do that and be in the room. And as soon as he did that, the whole energy in the whole room shifted, and we all felt it.
Was he more reserved to allowing her to give her that dominant energy, or?
He didn't know how to guide. And it was so interesting because he was like this big, masculine, meaty guy, and he was super hot. Like, they were the hottest couple ever. I was like, wow, you guys are attractive. But she was like kind of bullying him into dominating her. And I just told her, I was like, you be quiet. Like, I don't want to hear anything from you. Get on your knees right now.
Okay.
That's a good one. Get on your knees.
No. But that, it all comes down to the knowing the rules and what you actually want to be. If she wanted him to be a dom and she was coming on too strong, he's going to put him in a place of fear, like, oh, if I don't do this, I'm going to mess up. And then cycling down.
So if you were talking to a couple and they were in front of you and they wanted to, like, the guy wanted to learn how to be more dominant in the bedroom, right? And like fully feel comfortable in that and kind of anchor it. What would be the first like few things you would encourage him to do?
The very first thing I'm going to tell most men to do is you have to hold yourself in a way of dominance. You don't have to act dominant, but just hold yourself. Like, back up straight, strong posture, tone of voice matters. Like, the way you look at them, like, show control. And this is just more male to female dynamics. If you show any weakness, a woman's going to see, and woman intuition, like, show your strength in your spine, in your back, in your eyes. All of that matters. Stand firm and live it. The way you speak matters too. Speak not with authority, but strength and masculinity.
And direction.
Yeah, direction. I can throw a question at her. Like, okay, it's like, are you really going to do that?
Oh, yeah.
Throwing that type of dominating question a woman's way, a lot of the times I have seen they respond very well to, like, are you really going to do that? Yeah, I'll do it. It's showing authority without showing aggression.
Yeah, a lot of people think the domination is aggression.
Nope.
So there's a woman named Kimmy Ench, and she's a dominatrix for 23 years, and she kind of is in like the somatic kink leadership role, and she's teaching a lot of people this. And she calls domination, being the dominant, the erotic leader.
Yes.
And she calls the submissive the erotic follower.
Yeah.
And I like that.
Leading. And well, it's same as it goes for workplace stuff.
Yeah.
Like, no one wants to deal with the boss.
That's dominant.
That's
controlling.
It's
aggressive.
It gives a lot of pain to people. Like, they don't want to be told what to do and then not do anything to back it up. Most people hate that type of workplace culture.
Yeah.
But they love a leader. Gets on their hands and knees and does it with them. So that's why I say a man has to act it, walk it, do it, show that consistent, like,
embodiment
of a leader. And eye contact is my favorite one. When you look at a woman, like, really look at her eyes and standing in front of her, looking down at her, you want to know how to test if a girl's really into you. Kind of push them against the wall and look down at them, bite your lip, and say, what are we doing later? Throw them that question and see how they act. If they act quick, they're probably less inclined, but if they stutter, have to catch themselves, they're like, oh yeah, for the most part, they're kind of shocked, don't know what to say. And that's just what has worked for me.
Yeah.
It doesn't work for everyone, but the few times I have done that, it's worked great.
What are some other tricks or tips or like secrets that people could implement?
Okay, it depends on if you're in a relationship or not. So what do we want to do?
Primarily working with people who are in relationships.
Hair play is my favorite thing. You run your hands through the back of a girl's head, like right on the back of the cranium. Just start massaging using nails and then grabbing their hair, like tilting their head back and be like, we're going to bed right now. Demanding it and like, we're going. While you look down at them, you have to be over them. Has been a consistent good one, but beforehand she has to show that comfort on really liking that head scratches. And I'm doing that motion with my hand for, like, because we can see this, but showing that dominance and her falling into that, oh, this feels good, this feels safe. Then you do that. I'll say 9 out of 10 times that's worked. Motion, then into hypersexual. And I don't think that would work for anyone that wasn't attracted to the person they're with. That would turn into a fear aspect, being touched wrongly.
That has to be safety.
Yep.
There has to be an agreement of some sort of intimacy beforehand.
So let's use Brat taming right now, because this is one that me and you originally talked about. People that, because a lot of women these days do a lot of push and pull, play the game, have fun. When I ever get energy that's like, push me, a lot of guys will back off because it is a lot of pressure to do this. I always say, just play the game. You don't have to do anything afterwards. Just play the game. Don't let her win. It is a game. That's all. Let's have fun with it.
Give an example.
So, like, we'll use a simple one. I don't know what I want to eat. You tell me. I was like, every time I hear you pick, I look at them and be like, you're going to be eating something unless you pick right now.
Yeah.
That's a soft one.
Yeah.
You have to kind of like set me up with things and then I can react and make them really well. But I don't want to put that pressure on you too. But it all comes down to just giving back that same energy, all while being dominating.
And like, when we say dominating, like, I think a lot of men are scared of that word.
It's nothing to be,
like, I think it's like, it maybe a word is leader, but like, or like just centered.
Yeah.
Centered and present and like connected.
Confident, not cocky.
Yeah.
Confident.
Yeah,
when I
confident.
say, because the dominating personality, for the most part, those are confident people. I think as long as you understand the difference between confidence and cocky, because I've met some cocky doms, like, oh, I can.
There's so many of them.
I'm like, ew, no, stay away from me. I don't want to hear what
and
you
then
do.
cocky doms have a tendency to cross boundaries.
That comes down to the dom that I do not like to think about. The dom for themselves.
Yeah.
No,
So for those who are listening, there's the dominant, which is like the erotic leader, and then there's the erotic follower, which is the more submissive, and then there's brats. And brats are submissives that like to push back. So they don't like submit right away. They make their doms work extra hard for their submission, and they push and they play and they tease and they challenge, and it's this fun like childish game that comes out, but it can be infuriating for some men. A lot of men. Yes,
it is.
Or they freak out and they shut down. And then the problem is then the brat loses respect for that man.
Yep.
Because the second she challenged him, he crumbled.
I need people really to understand that, like, a guy cannot always be on.
Yeah, no.
And
we test men so much.
And that's not fair.
No, it's not fair at all.
Like, especially for guys like me, I want to pay all the bills. I want to handle everything, especially if I'm in a relationship. I want everything to be good. And then if I get that type of energy when I'm not feeling it at the end of the day, like, I'm going to go work hard. I'm going to go work out.
I just had a moment that I'm less bratty. I'm a brat, but I'm way less bratty than I used to be. In my 20s, I was so bratty. But I just realized I had a brat moment recently.
What'd you do?
So I'm like talking to this guy and he lives in Texas, and I was feeling like I was being the erotic leader in the relationship, like leading the relationship, and I didn't like that.
Well, really quickly, I could see you doing that.
Well, yeah, I have a sex podcast and I'm a sex coach and I dominate for a living.
And you have a dominant personality too.
So I was being the erotic leader, and instead of expressing to him, hey, I don't like this, I just stopped calling him and stopped contacting him. And so then he called me and I was all pissed off because he didn't call me and he didn't respond to my text. And he's like, no, if you have a problem with me not calling you, you call me and tell me. You text me and tell me. You don't challenge me. You do not do this. That's not okay. And I'm like, wow, I'm just realizing he kind of brat tamed me.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, you're right.
A lot of the issues, it's rough because you can't do anything.
I know.
The way I do it is like, it's always an in-person thing. You react to body language. You react to like the tone of voice, like over text. If I get a demon face, stick out tongue thing from a girl and I could read the text,
it was
I'm
over
like,
the phone. Yeah.
Like, it's hard for me because I'm like, I wish they could see my face. I wish they can see me like, you're driving me crazy.
They can't see your face right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just realized I thought that it was a rat moment. But he held his ground and he didn't crumble and he didn't say, like, he just like held it. And I'm like, wow, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
And then it put me in my place.
Well, it's also boundaries. A lot of brat taming is just putting down boundaries, because this is a big thing. Brats love pushing boundaries.
Yeah.
It's like, where do you say no? Where do you stop responding? I always say, because in general, most men brat tame, but that doesn't make them a brat tamer.
The difference?
Brat taming, or a brat tame, is the daily dealing with someone acting up, like pushing the boundaries. It's just a game for me. I gamify it because that's how my brain works.
You don't take it personally.
No, it's never personal.
Yeah.
Especially if I know that's the dynamics between me and whoever I'm talking to. Now, if it's a random girl on the street who gives me attitude, whatever, for the most part, I won't give it. Or if it's just a friend that I know, but I'm not super close with, I will just do basic brat taming. Oh, no. Okay, whatever. And I've learned that just shrugging off a lot of girls gets them all hyped and kind of aggressive. Like, I'm not going to deal with you right now. Walk away. And they're like, I want more attention. Stop. But it's not for everyone.
Well, I think, you were in the military, and I think part of your security and your ability to work with brats is because of your background of going through challenging things.
Yeah. Doing the hard stuff, dealing with hard situations put me in a mindset of you have to think quickly on your feet. Mm-hmm. I did my medical background, so I worked on patients a lot. And in those critical moments, you have to make split-second decisions in order to protect someone's life. And then because I was during combat times, I also had to take lives.
So your nervous system is programmed and wired to protect and also defend.
Yeah.
And so I think part of that is there's a lot of men who haven't had those challenges that you've gone through, or they've kind of been, honestly, I hate to say this, but a little bit babied by our society. Society
caters to people's feelings now instead of what's around us.
Yeah.
People are playing a chess game on their own chessboard when actually they are a chess piece on the big board.
Yeah.
And no one wants to look up and actually pay attention to it. Like my grandfather once said, life is like a river or a road. You're going to go, it's going to keep going on.
It's going to keep going.
It's just going to keep going.
Yeah.
You can't get distracted by it.
So when I work with my male clients, one of my things that I have them do is Wim Hof breath work and also cold plunging. Mm-hmm. Cold plunging is a lot easier than being in the military.
I know. I've seen some people just borderline die from cold water. So,
but it's reprogramming the nervous system to be calm with stress. And I think that that's something that if a man has erectile dysfunction or is feeling insecure when it comes to playing with women or the pushback, that is my go-to suggestion. Do you have anything that you would suggest? I mean, I know you're not gonna say join the military, but
no.
But what is it that they can do to build that inner confidence within them to hold that anchor when a woman is being bratty? I
usually say physical exercise is one of the main go-to. Mm-hmm. So, and it's because physical exercise that you can get defeated and rebuilt up. A lot of people say jiu-jitsu, boxing, stuff like that, where you have to lose to win. The military beat me down, destroyed me, but built me up and created me into this ultra, put in hundreds of thousands of dollars into me in training and equipment and stuff, and created who I am today. And I'm still fairly confident that was a good thing. Fairly confident. But if people don't join the military, I'm not saying everyone needs to. They need to do a difficult task that shows them that they aren't anything important, because you have to realize we're just human. Mm-hmm. Everyone is special, but no one is special. Mm-hmm. So in the case of martial arts, it's something anyone can get into for the most part. And if you're in martial arts like jiu-jitsu, you're going to learn from the basics. You're going to get thrown on your butt. You're going to be put in an armbar. You're going to be put in a chokehold. You name it, they'll do it to you. And they're going to remind you that you aren't something special, but you can get there. You can become something more. And that was one of those things that me and you talked about. I am so scared of women, but I'm also not.
Alison Armstrong wrote this book, The Queen's Code, and I have a book club on it. I've read the book 18 times. I'm a very devotee of her work. And one of the things she says is that we're frog farmers and we turn princes into frogs. instead of bringing frogs and turning them into princes. So one of the things I hold women accountable to is to not be so mean and to be softer and to be more encouraging to the masculine. But the interesting thing that what you're talking about that I think is very fascinating is until very recently, right? I mean, we're still unfortunately in war right now, which really sucks. It's horrible what's happening right now. And also, like, for the longest time, men would hunt and go to war and protect and use their bodies for protection. And we have become lazy in our society by sitting behind our computers and playing video games. And that's how we fulfill that need, right? Yeah. The video games is fulfilling that need to protect and to be warriors. And I think that warrior energy is kind of the dominant energy.
Yeah. That's why I usually use fighting as a good example for people to have that, because it needs to be physical.
Yeah.
But
move your body, get out from behind the computer, get behind the screen. Like you said, touch the ground.
Yeah.
Get connected to the earth.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. No, women have so much power, and I love women. I love women so much. It's not even funny. But I am also hyper scared of them because of your guys' power has always been something worth fighting for.
Yeah.
And I don't know. Like,
I sadly am so heartbroken to say this, but we only have a few minutes left.
Okay. Yeah, no worries.
So we have to kind of start closing the conversation. So, like, what is the last bit of wisdom or information that you'd like to share with a man? But I love having you on because you do have a different perspective. So what do you want to leave the listeners with this topic?
When I say you need to be a dominant person in your reality, that doesn't mean it needs to affect others. Just handle your stuff, build yourself up, always have confidence. Do not be cocky. Do not put it on others. The more you become, the more other people see it. Yes. You must become, as a man, you have to become. We are not given anything at birth. You must become. I worked hard to be in the shape I am right now, the financial success I'm in right now, the confidence I'm in right now. I am still working on many things. Every day I have to level up. If we want to say play your video games, understand life is a video game. Collect those coins, level up every day. You'll one day defeat the boss, save the princess, and do it all the classic way. But you have to work. If you stop, men, if you at all stop, life's going to pass you by.
You're going to be sad.
Yeah.
And we don't want some sad men. We need men protecting and fighting and standing up for what's right.
But there's nothing wrong with men being sad.
Yes.
That's the thing.
I shouldn't use that word at the end. I say lethargic is a better word.
Much better.
Thank you.
No,
sad is important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The thing I really want to left out, if you're having trouble, talk to someone, but do something. Focus that energy on something healthy and productive for you.
Go to therapy, get a life coach, get a sex coach, go to jiu-jitsu, and go to boxing.
I'll even say maybe
body.
If you're having trouble with sex, go to a sex coach, and there's many things you can do these days. I don't want to promote anything, but I'm like, I tell people, like, that word incel. I hate that because there's no such thing as involuntary, because you can pay for it these days.
We have to close up, unfortunately. Thank you so much for being on today and for sharing your perspective. It's been an honor to have you. Unfortunately, you don't have an Instagram right now, so people can't get a hold of you.
Maybe in the future, you'll come back and put it back up.
Okay. It's been such an honor. Thank you so much for being here. This is Sex Ritual Radio, and this is Rose Heartsong. We'll see you next week.
I'm going to be real with you. I am so over sex being a taboo topic that we talk about. I am ready for conscious sexuality, spiritual sexuality to be a conversation in the room. I have been in so many rooms full of people. I share that I'm a sex coach, and people get awkward and shrink and get small around me. And I am so ready for that to be done. And it starts with you. In order to make this conversation bigger, this podcast gets to grow. In 2026, I am committed to impacting 100,000 people's lives with this, and I need your help. So would you please subscribe, leave a comment, share it on your Instagram story, or text it to a friend. It would mean the world to me, and I will see you next week.